They say offense wins games and defense wins championships, which I think we can all see the truth in that. But there are some certain players that take that defensive part a little too serious, as they would do anything on the defensive end to win, whether it was legal or not. So in this video, I'm going to be going over the dirtiest players to play in the NBA. Cue the intro. Our first player, Dillon Brooks. Let's start this list off with someone we are all familiar with. Although Dillon Brooks is a hell of a defender who just made All-NBA second team last season, this doesn't deny the fact that he's basically the main villain in today's NBA, as he will do anything on the court, no matter how dirty the play is. Dillon Brooks adopted this villain role pretty recently, as we didn't hear much about his antics early in his career, but lately, Dillon has been on a mission to be the dirtiest player in the league, as he's hit many players below the belt intentionally. We saw last year's incident with Donovan Mitchell, and this preseason, just 5 minutes into his Rockets debut, Brooks hit Daniel Tice below the belt and was immediately thrown out of the game. Truly a Dillon Brooks moment, and I'm sure we haven't seen the last of his dirty plays either. Artest, aka Meta World Peace. This list is in no particular order, but if it was, Artest would most likely be number 1 on this list, as he literally has compilations on YouTube of all his dirty plays. Although he didn't really start the malice at the Palace, he did a good job of escalating the whole thing after he went to fight some fans in the crowd after having water thrown onto him. Or that time he sent James Harden to the Shadow Realm with a vicious elbow for literally no reason at all. Or that time he hit JJ Barea right in the face with his arm at the end of a playoff game. I could literally go on and on with all the dirty plays Artest has done in the NBA, as the ones I mentioned barely scraped the surface. Artest was a hell of a player, as he won Defensive Player of the Year in 2004, as well as an All-Star nod and All-NBA third team. But he was also one of the dirtiest players in the league, as players really had to watch their backs going up against him. Grayson Allen. Talking about having a reputation of being a dirty player, here's one right here. Before even entering the NBA, Grayson Allen already had a reputation of being a total menace, as during his time in Duke, there were multiple occasions of him literally kicking players and sometimes succeeding mid-game. Times where he stuck his behind out to bump players. He was literally labeled the dirtiest player during his time at Duke. And all the dirtiness transferred to the NBA, as we saw a couple seasons ago. Allen literally took out the GOAT, Alex Caruso, mid-air, where he ended up landing awkwardly and breaking his wrist. He's elbowed DeMar DeRozan behind the back, followed with many more dirty plays. Grayson Allen is definitely one of those players where you got to watch your back at all times going up against him, as you don't know when he'll trip you next. Karl Malone. Even though Karl Malone was a hell of a player during his time, this didn't stop him from being one of the dirtiest as well. As I'm sure, most of you are aware of his off-court troubles that I won't even bother getting into, but he caused a lot of trouble on the court as well, mainly due to his vicious elbows. Malone's first elbow of death came against Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons. As Thomas was going up for a layup, Malone clobbered him mid-air with a vicious elbow to the face, leading to Isaiah Thomas needing over 40 stitches. He even elbowed Isaiah's enemy, the GOAT, Michael Jordan, in the face, breaking his nose. And Malone's elbows were so vicious that he literally knocked Spurs legend David Robinson out cold mid-game, with a nasty left elbow right to the back of the head. And his last elbow came against Steve Nash in 04 off a rebound, elbowing him right in the face, leading to Nash losing a tooth and needing over 80 dentist appointments to finally fix his teeth. Malone was one of the dirtiest players in the NBA of all time, and with those elbows he possessed, he should have just gone to MMA with those. Chris Paul. Even though Chris Paul is one of the most beloved NBA players in history, as he's literally named the point god, this doesn't deny the fact that he's got many enemies in the league as well, and had numerous dirty plays throughout his career. He's had multiple occasions with DeMarcus Cousins where CP3 flops after Cousins barely touched him, which led to Cousins publicly calling him a cheater who he doesn't respect. He even didn't let his teammate Isaiah Thomas on the Kings shake Chris Paul's hand after a game due to their feud, which Thomas wasn't even a part of. As many of you know, Chris Paul and Rondo had a lot of beef during their careers, which eventually boiled down to them throwing hands back in 2018. And in the 2021 NBA Finals against the Milwaukee Bucks, at the end of Game 5 when Jrue Holiday stole the ball from Devin Booker, leading to the iconic lob to Giannis, if Chris Paul was a little bit taller and stronger, that push to Giannis leading to an and one in midair could have been 10 times more dangerous than what actually happened. He was infamous for bringing his arms up when a player was close to him just to draw a foul. And he's got many plays in his career where he just does little things like leaving his body in front of a player to draw fouls. But a lot of those plays are close to leading to injuries. Even though Chris Paul is loved a lot by the NBA, he does have his fair share of enemies with his dirty play on the court. Draymond Green. You can't have a list of the dirtiest NBA players and leave out the infamous Draymond Green. Kind of like Chris Paul, Draymond is one of those players you would love on your team but hate going up against him. Basically because you don't know what dirty move he will pull off next. He's kicked Steven Adams below the belt 2 times in back-to-back games. He's poked Harden and LeBron in the eyes, giving Harden a red eye and causing LeBron to see double and eventually hit the game winner in the play-in game. And his latest one against Sabonis in the playoffs last year, where he literally stomped on his chest, injuring Sabonis. Yes, Sabonis was grabbing his leg like he was doing jiu-jitsu, but that stomp by Green was extremely excessive. He has nearly injured half the league at this point, and it doesn't look like Draymond is going to stop anytime soon. And as we all know, that's just who Draymond is at this point. Thank you guys if you made it to the end of this video. If you like this video and want to see more content just like this one, drop a like and subscribe to the channel for new videos every week. And if you think any other dirty NBA players deserve to mention on this list, drop it in the comment section below. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video.